Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for we really appreciate your support and kind feedback that was from the guys that have been watching. So thank you very much. And if you're new to this channel, this is the BVoy project where we're talking about being the best version of yourself. And if you like any of the videos that you've been seeing so far, if you could kindly like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any more of these videos when they come through. So today we're going to be talking about vision, thinking long term in a short term world. I like the idea of thinking long term in a short term world because, as we know, we're living in a short term world. The concept of instant gratification, everything happens now. You order something and you expect it to be delivered now, you expect it to be delivered tomorrow. Everything is now, now, now. And this becomes a short term concept, how everything needs to happen immediately. So how do you think long term in a short term world? And that's what we're going to talk about today. It's important to understand what your vision is. What is vision essentially? What is it? The concept of seeing a bit further away. What is it that you're actually focusing on? So your focus, your goal, what are you trying to achieve? Now, this is a term that's usually used again in a business sense. What is your company vision? What are you trying to achieve? What values are you adding? Service are you providing for your clientele? But this is something that you can use in your personal life as well. So whatever it is that you're looking to achieve, whether it's personally or in a relationship, in a marriage, whatever it is that you're looking to achieve, identify what that is. Now you want to define that vision, define that goal. What are you trying to focus on? And focus is an interesting concept as well, where your reality is based on what you actually focus on. So if it is a case of focusing on something specific, that's what you bring to reality. We actually see the world based on what we focus on. It's quite an interesting concept that I heard about. We see the world based on what we focus on. And there's an interesting experiment which I'm going to put on this video. Actually, it's an interesting experiment about focusing on something, where it's a video where they ask you to count how many times a ball is passed between people wearing white tops, and you watch that and you count how many they are. And then it's interesting what happens in the middle of that video that people completely miss out. And we're going to attach it so you can actually view it as well.
How many passes did you count? The correct answer is 15 passes. But did you see the gorilla?
Which is the same concept that we're trying to point out. Whatever it is that you focus on is what you bring into reality. So therefore, if your vision is based on something that you really want to achieve, that's what you're going to bring forward, because your actions are going to be predicated on that particular vision, on that particular goal, on that particular focus. So then, what exactly are we suggesting you do? So this is based on some research that was done, not Muzzy's words, by the way. I'm just reiterating information that I've learned. So in terms of actually having a vision and essentially creating long-term goals in a short-term world, and this requires a lot of patience, and we're going to go through a couple of things here. So firstly, creating a white space. Now, this is based on the concept of sort of installing or implementing some time that you can use for creative thinking. Okay, so the white space is based on using a whiteboard to throw in ideas. So if you're working as a team, you can actually throw in some ideas of what strategy changes, what things that you can start implementing, what ideas you can start putting through to either improve your processes or to target a different clientele or to change your product in a way to actually suit whatever changes are taking place in the world. But then this is like the idea of, instead of just continuously going through the mundane daily tasks and reactive work, firefighting, you set aside some time to actually have creative thinking, essentially, where you can actually start bouncing ideas with the team, or you can do it on your own as well. Or if you're looking to do that on a personal aspect, not just a base business side, set aside some time for some creative thinking, and we call this creating the white space. Okay, that's one of the things that you can do. Now, embracing strategic patience, and the active word there is patience, because we all love the concept of instant gratification. We want things to happen now. The concept of embracing strategic patience is there's a term called the deception phase. I love the idea of this because a lot of times people start something and they want something to happen straight away. They want the outcome. You can think of anything that you try to do, whether it's going to the gym for weight loss, or you actually start reading something to understand the concept. Things don't happen pretty much straight away. And if in most cases, whenever people don't have that immediate outcome, the immediate progress that they're looking for, they just let go of it. Okay, so this is the concept of the strategic patience. Now there's that deception phase that they call deception phase, where you're doing so much, you put in so much effort, and there is no outcome. There's no progress. You don't see anything whatsoever. And the reason they call it deceptive is because a lot of the changes are happening, but you don't see them, feel them, but they are actually happening. This is the concept of an iceberg. When you see an iceberg over the sea, what's underneath is much bigger than what you're seeing on top of the sea. So we're looking for the iceberg over the sea, but then the work has already happened underneath. You're actually building resilience, you're building character. There's a lot of things that are taking place within you in the changes that you're putting into, in all of the effort that you're putting in. And that's the deception phase, where there is no obvious visual outcome, changes, progress, but things are happening. Okay, so you just need to get past that deception phase, and that's the strategic patience we're talking about. Okay, and the next thing is develop a portfolio approach. Okay, so trust that the goals that you set are actually aligned with the long-term vision that you're actually planning for. So you're looking at, treat the goals like investments and diversifying them. Okay, whatever the goals are, everything that you're putting into them is an investment. Even if it doesn't quite happen straight away, it's something that you reap the rewards in the future. So diversify these ideas or diversify these goals so that you can actually start picking out the positive outcome, the positive success in the future, as long as you actually implement the patience that we spoke about. Okay, there's making sacrifices. Okay, now the concept of making sacrifices is easier said than done, and tend to look at things as, if I do this, then I should get that every time. But then what you're doing essentially is making sacrifices. You make decisions on things that will align with your future goal, even if it means you lose out on your immediate pleasures. Okay, so what are you actually sacrificing now? Someone could say it would be fun to go for a nice dinner with my friends right now at McDonald's, at Burger King, whatever fast food restaurant, wherever you are, but it doesn't align with my long-term goal, which is weight loss by this date. So you sacrifice the social event that you could have gone to now because you've got a long-term goal that you're planning for. Now you can change that example to suit whatever it is that you're looking to achieve, but the concept of sacrificing something now for the long term or for the future is the concept that we're talking about now. Okay, hope that actually makes sense. Now, balancing that with the short-term reality, and this is the concept of having long-term goals in a short-term world, because that's the one that we were living in now, a short-term world. Now, how do you balance that? So firstly, implementing the fail fast mindset or the fail fast process. And this essentially is, whenever you have a new idea that you want to implement, do it quickly, do it hard. Okay, and because a lot of people are a bit timid in terms of, there's this new idea I want to try, or whether it's a new business or it's a new project that we want to implement in our business, or a new thing that we want to bring into our family to try out, and we're a bit timid. We do it nice and slowly. Okay, However, that actually drags out the process of finding out whether this works or not, because you might find out it doesn't work a lot later and you've already sort of like exhausted the whole amount of resource in terms of time, in terms of finances in some cases. But we're talking about the fail fast. Go in on it, go at it hard, and actually push and put all of your effort. And it might be painful to then find out that it doesn't work, but you'll find out a lot quicker. That's the whole concept of failing fast. And then you learn from those experiences on what you can tweak. Now, can you actually still implement that or not? Or do you just completely take it out of your plans and try something else? But the concept is failing fast. Okay. Now, because we're in a short-term world, essentially where things need to happen quickly, you can fail quickly and it still lines up with it, although as long as whatever it is that you're trying still lines up with your long-term goal. Okay, hope that makes sense. Now, align your daily tasks. Okay, now because we want to see immediate changes in our short-term world, you're going to have daily tasks where you can see the progress of what you're doing daily. But each of your daily tasks need to align with the long-term goal. So you've got this huge thing that you're trying to do, i.e., I want to lose 10 kilo of weight, okay, in the next 10 weeks, for example. Now, the idea of losing 10 kgs is massive. However, you can break it down to say, if I'm going to lose 10 kgs in 10 weeks, I need to lose 1 kilo every week. Now, what does that look like on a daily basis? What does that look like? What do I need to do every single day, which aligns with my long-term goal? So you can break that down then and then know what your daily tasks are. Now, because we want that short term, or we understand the short term and we want that gratification, if you write down your task on a daily basis, you know what you have done and you feel that sense of, that shot of dopamine once you've done that thing, knowing that it lines up with my long-term goal, so that the long-term goal itself, it's big, it doesn't overwhelm you, and you break it down into smaller pieces and you feel the sense of progress because you're doing things every single day. Okay, the next thing that we would suggest you look at is long-term vision and short-term focus, and that's adopting a playbook that includes reviewing, learning, and adjusting to remain flexible. Now, this is a term, again, we tend to use that in the business focus, where you've got a particular service or you've got a particular product that you're selling. However, even though that's the long term, these are the services that you're actually providing, you want to also consider what's going on in the world. In the last video that we actually spoke about, we did talk about companies like Blockbuster and Kodak, who were set in terms of what it is that they're doing, and then they didn't consider how the world was changing, which was the cost of not changing. Okay, so this is the concept of it. You want to sort of remain flexible as well in terms of what you're looking to achieve, and make sure that whoever it is that you're looking to serve is still being served as the times are changing. That's the concept that we're looking at here. So you have a long-term goal, but then in the short term, things are changing. You want to be a bit flexible and consider how sort of pivot and still service people the way that you want to service them. Okay, now this is the whole idea behind the vision itself and thinking long term in a short term world. But one of the things, and this might be the most important thing as part of this conversation, is looking out for the pitfalls and things to avoid. And one of the biggest messages that I've learned anyway is to not overestimate what you can do in a short period of time and consider what you can do in a long period of time. Okay, so it was said that most people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years. Okay, so that's the whole concept again of the instant gratification. In a short-term world, we want to see the progress. If I'm going to start a business, I want to be a millionaire by the end of the year. And because you don't achieve that, and if you don't achieve that, bear in mind some people do, but if you don't achieve that, it then becomes so disheartening and you stop. But then you don't consider how much you can achieve if you stay in it, be strategically patient, and go through the concept we were talking about in the deception phase, and then actually build through and see what you can achieve in 10 years. Okay. All right. That's it for our video today. And hopefully that's something that's helpful to you guys. Genuinely hope you can utilize that information to help you in your lives and in your business lives. Thanks again, and as mentioned, if you find any of this stuff useful, please kindly like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the videos in the future. All right, have a lovely time. Take care, guys.